paid soldier or police officer will be earning 1 million shillings.
Yes, tu want to eat though. Tu want to eat though. JBMuwonge talk show. Alright, kansubire buli omu ampulira bulungi eddoboozi lirikiriya. Let me hope everything is okay. And let me hope you guys you are okay. Subire buli omu ali bulungi. Mwebale ku tuning in from wherever you are joining us from. Those in Uganda, those in South Africa, those in the United Arab Emirates, those in the United Kingdom, those in America, everywhere across the planet, because you all know Ugandans tuli scattered all over the entire planet. Each and every country on this planet osangayo muna Uganda. Sinti na ayagala nnyo okubeerayo waliyo baganda baffe abakooye ekyeyo ng'oli abaddeyo emyaka egisoba mu 30 ng'ayina ennyonta y'okudda ewaka naye nga akoma kafaananyi n'agamba kweri nzira ewaka nga Museveni yakyaliko ki ekigenda okubeerawo. So that uncertainty, the reason is ezamutwala eyo wabibalabalamu n'agamba naye manyi katusooke tulwana akasajja kano kasooke kaveeko then awo nja kuba nzira ewaka bulungi. So bantu bangi balina ennyonto ey'okuddako ewaka, okulya ku ttooke, okulya ku mayuuni, okulya ku ndagu, okulya ku muwogo, okulya ku bumonde, okulya ku luwombo, okulya ebintu ebiri organic, ebintu byotatadde mu fridge, okulya ekyennyanja nga okijja wali mu mazzi, mu sefuliya, mu lubuto. You understand what I'm talking about? So yes, wherever you are tuning in from, I salute you, but above all webale nnyo kutuninga in. Sibamba gamba nti wano kutoka JBMuwonge Talk Show togenda kusangawo bya mpiira, togenda kusangawo bya comedy, togenda kusangawo mboozi z'amalo, ogenda kusangawo message ya nkyukakyuka. So I really appreciate your time that you give out to this kind of message. Jenzija every now and then nempisaawo. It's really very encouraging. Fe kiba kituzaamu amaanyi. You know, kiba kiraga nti ya byetukola tubikolera bwerere wabeerayo abantu abalinze okuwulira leero aleese eki. So I really appreciate and I salute you all in your capacity. Yona gye muli mwebale nnyo, tukubirize bukubiriza balala. Waliwo abangambye, I believe Vincent Katikoli, waliwo akomereza abangambye nti JB nga situfuna notification ng'ojja live. Yeah, what you can do obanga tofuna notification, for example ng'ogenda kula video eno ng'ewedde, unsubscribe oddemu subscribing there and then oteekeko ne notification obanga tozifuna. That's what you can do. Visit yangambye kikoze nakimugambye nekikola. Waliwo ne comrade mulala yangambye yakingambyeko ne mugamba nakola ekintu kyekimu era I believe naye kyamukoledde. So nga sinaba kutandika, of course tugenda kuyita mu article eri very 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 powerful, eri very insightful nungi nnyo saagala mugisubye president agisharinze abantu bangi bagisharinze naye mpanvu nnyo era nga nkimanyi abantu baffe bayinza okuba tebagitegedde yibaddemu pushing a message yaffe further ng'ate platform profilinze president waffe wamu n'enkyukakyuka eno. Bro, it's a very big platform. Actually, the New Yorker, which is an American magazine that features journalism, commentary, criticism, essays, fiction, satires, cartoons, and poetry. Of course, it was founded way back in 1925 by Harold W. Ross and his wife, Jane Grant. The magazine, of course, publishes 47 times annually, with 5 of these issues covering 2-week spans. While it often focuses on the current life of New York City, it also produces long-form journalism and shorter articles on a variety of topics, making it widely read both within and outside New York. So the New Yorker is known for its illustrated covers, commentaries on popular cultural graphs, fact-checking, and its inclusion of short stories and literary reviews. It has published works by esteemed writers such as Ernest Alice n'abalala bano of course bawandiisi bamaanyi nnyo naye okubeera nga New Yorker esobola okuidentifyinga message yaffe y'enkyukakyuka n'egiteeka mu print waayo n'egiteeka mu digital waayo bro ekyo ekintu si kitono si buli gaboozi nti ogenda gasanga mu mawulire nga gano kyeŋŋambi kyola nga president of course abakulembeze ab'enjawulo bagisharinze ndabi Jeffrey Smith agisharinze wa Vanguard Africa mumanyi bulungi president waffe naye agisharinze n'abakulembeze ab'enjawulo abamanyi kye bayita activism, because this is activism, this is pushing our message beyond Ugandan borders. You know, ate n'engeri gye bamuprofilinzemu ebadde nnungi nnyo bakifuzinze wamu ne documentary Bobi Wine was president. Kyeki nabagamba nti documentary egudde enzigi mpitirivu nnyo naye nga tunabagenda into this waliwo message mbali yagala okuyisaawo banange kiwulikika kitya gwobeera otya ng'oli eyo nga wave Uganda n'ogenda n'owangaalira mu nsi etali yiyo ng'ekikutute ekikujja Uganda. Now this I'm being specific and I want to be quoted right. Nga ekikujja Uganda, the uncertainty created by Museveni and his henchmen, the uncertainty created by the regime that has been powerful or close to 40 years right now. Ng'ekikujja Uganda lwabula lya mirimu lya kutulugunyizibwa kibbataka nga ofusing ebintu ebyo byonna wasala n'ogamba manyi kanziruka ekibambulira kino naye ne weesanga ng'oli mu nsi eyo n'okikuba n'obeera kale somehow naye n'obeera ng'owagira abasajja bano. Nabadde mpita ku TikTok nenda abasajja abandi badde babeera ba consultants ku nsonga ezimu naye ng'ali ku Kyagulanyi avuma nga azze ne ku mpale eya president gye yabaddemu ku bafta ng'avuma nti laba ekipale kyeyambala kugamba musajja mukulu nga wandimusubidde nti nno ku myaka gye yandibadde yeebuuzibwako bwebuuzibwa ku myaka gye yandibadde agayidinga bano abaana abato n'abalaga direction naye ng'ali ku Kyagulanyi avuma ng'ali ku criticizinga notunanoga wait a minute kyekiki ne bagamba nti sometimes sinenya baana bano bayisaamu bantu ng'abo gaali olw'ensonga tetugenda kufuna budde butuuza bantu bakulu babuulirira obudde situgenda bufuna. Oli musajja wa myaka 7 oli musajja wa myaka 5+ ate otandika okwebuza amagezi odde ku mwana w'emyaka 42 otandika okuvuma otandika okulengeza otandika okuteeka wansi. It doesn't make sense at all. Yena akola ekyo weddeko. You know, there is what we call constructive criticism and destructive criticism. We welcome constructive criticism, we welcome it, but we shall not entertain destructive criticism. No. Tetujja, especially ng'omuntu agikoze kale oyinza okusonyiwa abaana abamu nga ye olaba ali tali informed tali exposed kati nga ono muyimbi atanaaba gye we yavaayo n'atandika okubanja president waffe eddwaliro kale n'olaba abalenzirenzaawo abamu abaakava mu P7 yafunye smartphone aga twagala ddwaliro kale oyo oyinza omusonyiwa naye gwe omusajja omukulu ali exposed ali traveled ali well educated bro. Emitwe gino olumu tugirengera naye ebigiri munda tuwuddisibwa abantu abamu But anyway, gone are the days. This time round, you can easily look at someone and read beyond what they say and what they do. You can easily read beyond their actions and what they say. Through, of course, what they say and what they write. You know, so, nzirawo ekintu ekyo nenkyebuuza ne kinnema sifunanga ansa yakyo ntuufu. Nga gwobeera otya nga wadduka e Uganda? Naye nosigala nguwagira abasajja bano. Ddala obeera oliko katuli ku mutwe? Sifunanga muntu ampa explanation satisfying ku nsonga eno. Yes, tuyinawo categories of people nga bo kale basasulwa okubeera nga bakola ekyo. You know? Tuyinawo categories of people nga bo basasulwa okola ekyo era nga bali ku payroll. Abo bo omanya nti kale ali ku mulimu. Kati ng'olunaku olumu waziti Edmonton yangambako lumu nti muganda wange nasanga Isima omugenzi Isima n'amugamba nti muganda wange Edmonton mbeera kalimo mukimanyi wesita kuvuma sigenda kusasulwa at the end of the month nyina okusiba kyokoze kyobalabanga sometimes wemba nsiriseemu era abasajja bankubira esimu nti Isima kiki ng'omuliro tetugulengera olwo n'ennumba Mamasoro olwo n'ennumba Kampala olwo n'ennumba Suubi olwo n'empisaamu eggaali Joero Ssenyonyi ne muganda wange mbeera kalimo. So waliwo betumanyi nga bo babeera kalimo ne waliwo balinga olabira ddala nga yeebuuza magezi nga musajja mukulu ayina abaana nga n'omugamba nti kale abazze Uganda bawangalireko Uganda emyezi 2 tabasobola nga takisobola. Naye ate natandika okuteekawo natandika okuteekawo resistance y'amaanyi ku muntu eyoosowoddeyo n'agamba you know what guys, let's take this direction. I'm very sure it's going to lead us non-violently. Sigama. Anyway, the other thing that I wonder, abantu batambuza agaboozi ago bakitaddewo nti nno enkyukakyuka eno tugikolera Kyagulanyi mutuba tuyamba Kyagulanyi. Bro, bino si bya Kyagulanyi. Awo wenneewunyiriza. Anyway, era omuntu wabeera nga ayina endowooza eyo era tumusuubira kubeera nga asobola okutegeera ensonga gye tuliko kitegeera. You know? So, bo balowooza nti eno ensonga tugirimu lwa Kyagulanyi. Kyagulanyi is just a leader atukwatidde bukwatizi muti bwati oguliko light etulage ekkubo gye tulaga natugamba manyi tukwate ku direction eno tusooke tulabise abazungu bano tubagambe mulekeraawo ku supporting abasajja bano bakola bino ne bino oba siki mwe you are part of this mess tusooke tubakumu nabo bennyini tubalabise professing the principles ba standing for natuga kati tutumalaawo maybe tukole kiri naye oli naavaayo nga the only word zimufuluma mu kamwa destructive criticism. We shall not entertain that nonsense. Yeah. Wadde nti nze nyinza obutavaayo kuyisa mu ggaali naye am very sure waliwo abaana abajja kikola. Yeah. Eyo message njagadde giyisaawo. Nkimanyi abamu bayitako wandiro bala mu comment section oli na commenting ebintu ebitakwatagana. Alright guys, eyo ngambi nja giyisaawo era nja kubajjukizanga ku nsonga eyo because it's very painful. Kiri very painful. Tugende mu article y'olwalero and that is from the New Yorker. It is very a bit long. Iyo. Yeah, si nnyo anyway. Naye era nungi tugiyitemu mpola nga tunyumirwa. Yeah. Tutera okukyala obudde bw'ekiro oluzungu lusobola okubula n'olunoonya nga tolulaba. let's get started with this article. Of course, nabanyonyodde wajevudde na nsonga lwaki eri very important ate ne message erimu yennyini nnyini. Olabe kiki outside Uganda batwogerako ki? Ensonga yaffe eno bagyogerako ki? Omukulembeze waffe bamwogerako ki? Bana abatonde nnyo abataweza na 1% gwe balowooza nti basobola oteeka wansi. Kambanyubize ekintu kimu. Okuva president waffe we are joining active politics. Bakoseze obukozi sente mpitirivu nnyo. In 2018 nateranga okuwandika articles zaali mpanvu nnyo. Abangobereranga ebiseera ebya 2019 osobola ogenda n'okucheckinga ku page yange ya JBMuwonge Facebook page n'onoonya mu myaka gya 2018 ne 2019 osanganga articles ezo empanvu twalinga tubaddiza akaliro buli kiseera we baleberanga bayagadde okubaako bye bagula oba kubaako bye bakola. Tuzze tulwana nabo every now and then naye neewuunya nti lwaki tactic gye bakozesa tebasobola kulaba nti no yagandira ddala okola from day one. So there is no one agenda kuteeka wansi president waffe kuba tewali n'omu kwaba baagala omuteeka wansi yamuleeta. So let's dive anyway deep into this. Article eno basoose ne bagamba nti from house arrest to the Oscars circuit. Ekyo of course nkikutedde waawe era osobola ogiwuliriza abasobola okgenda ku www.newyork.com osobola okgenda n'ogiwuliriza bulungi in audio format. Naye kati wano nze tugitemu mpolampola. Bagamba probably the only people at the Oscar Nominations Luncheon at the Beverly Hilton Hotel last week who were out on bail were Bobi Wine, the Ugandan politician and musician, and his wife, Barbie Kyagulanyi. Their presence was seemingly the result of some rather cynical political calculations. Once the film about Wine's presidential campaign, Bobi Wine, the People's President, was nominated for an Oscar in the Best Documentary Feature category, the government of the authoritarian Ugandan President. Now, I like the way they describe this autocrat. Did you listen to that? You know, you have to describe someone the way they are. Ngaka kwenza watira okukola ki okudescribinga abantu oba olina akabina kanene oba olina olubuto olina minene oba olina omutwe munene nnyo 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 kudescribinga because those are facts. So it's also reflected here that the Bobi Wine, the People's President, was nominated for an Oscar in the Best Documentary Feature category. The government of the authoritarian Ugandan President, Yoweri Museveni, was apparently in a pickle. If the government prevented Wine from traveling, his absence during the pre-Oscars festivities, not to mention the ceremony itself, would highlight its tireless campaign of harassment, torture, and detention against him. The alternative of allowing Wine and Kyagulanyi. Now, you need to quote this. Wano bakozesezza amannya abiri. Omanyi obanga wandika article kino just kankiisa obuyisi. Like nasomako ko artistic screenplay writing and all that kind of thing. They at first were describing the president who is Bobi Wine and his wife Barbie Kyagulanyi. Kati wano bapikinzemu just mannya abiri, Wine and Kyagulanyi. So in this context, wawulira ekigambo Kyagulanyi manya nti batwogera ku Barbie. Then wawulira ekigambo Wine tubatwogera ku Bobi Wine. So akugambye wano nti the alternative of allowing Wine and Kyagulanyi to travel to Los Angeles and other cities, including London, where the film was nominated for a BAFTA, must have seemed the lesser of two evils. One day, Wine and Barbie were under house arrest in their home in Kampala with 3 of their children. Not sure if Museveni would drag Wine off to prison again, and a few days later, they were in Hilton. I would sleep on the street and go without food to get attention for what's going on in Uganda, Wine said the other day. Instead, I'm achieving that by sleeping in a nice bed in a nice hotel in Los Angeles. It's strange. Of course, wanada ku describing ida engeri gyabadde alemerako okulaba nga at least attention emuteekebwako, naye ng'ate attention eyo ejjayo ensonga lwaki ali mu situation eyo. Government, I would sleep on the street and go without food to get attention for what's going on in Uganda. Mwena ndowooza mukyamujjukira president baamugaana nga okwebaka mu zi hotels n'asula ku street mu motoka n'atagamba nti kaavugadde emagere kuba alina amakaage kati nga bwe baali emijeera yali asobola okuvuga nadde e Kampala, that is a distance of 2 hours drive, asobola okudda emagere wali neyebaka naye yagamba no, we have a duty, n'abeera nga yebakaawo the following day, n'abeera nga yeyongera next destination. Naye akugambye nti ebyo naye abikola ng'ayagala attention edrawingibwe ku kigenda mu maaso mu Uganda. Naye kati ate alinga akyakivinga nti otuloto yamiisinga luli, ate kati ali mu twebakamu mu hotel ennungi mu Los Angeles. It is strange. During their time in Los Angeles, Wine and Barbie kept up a hectic schedule of press interviews and the most made and great parties that are standard Oscar campaign events. In addition to the luncheon where Barbie Kyagulanyi was seated next to Cillian Murphy and took a selfie with Emma Stone. Wine, who was at a different table, didn't recognize his seatmates. I don't get to watch contemporary films, he explained, noting how much time he spent in and out of prison over the past few years. But I'm sure my children would know them. Wine is hardly resistant to biggest Afrobeat stars. Wine is hardly resistant to popular culture. Since the early 2000s, he has probably been one of the Uganda's biggest Afrobeat stars, with a flow of hit songs and millions of views on his YouTube channel. He could have continued being a big musical star and the occasional actor, but in 2017, he grew so dismayed by the government's excesses and the repression that he ran for parliament as a reform candidate. He won easily. The next year, he was arrested on vague charges of firearms and ammunition possessions, which he denied. He was held for a month and beaten while in custody. He became a favorite target of the 79-year-old Museveni, who has been president since 1986, and who has engineered the abolishment of presidential term and age limits. Now, of course, this is the first section, but I want to make this clear for those who may be hearing this for the first time. Museveni is not 79 years old. He lied about his age, of course, that is a fact, because at first he told us he doesn't know when he was born, and then after a few years, he manufactures his own birth date. You get a point. And they try so hard using religious leaders to validate that birth date. But of course, all of that was, of course, to make sure that he extends his grip on power. But guess what? There is no... Museveni is not immortal. Even if he changes his birth date, even if he calls himself young, the facial expression shows, and you can easily look at someone and tell their age by just looking at them. As in, people like Museveni, they fall in the same category as Bobi of Cameroon. Bobi of Cameroon, I think, is 91 years old. He has been in power over 40 years. Yeah. And when you look at Museveni and look at Bobi of Cameroon, there is no difference. As in, the skin, complexion, the walking style, the dressing code. So he lied about his age, of course, to cling on power, of course. That is it. 79, like they describe him here, but of course this is false. Let's continue. In 2019, Wine announced that he would run for president in the 2021 election. And the film, directed by Christopher Sharp and Moses Boyo, both of whom were born in Uganda and grew up there, follows his campaign during which Wine and hundreds of his supporters were arrested. His driver was shot dead. His bodyguard was killed. An internet blackout was imposed during the election. And Wine, who was declared to have lost, questioned the results. Museveni claimed victory and said that the election was the most cheating-free election since 1962. Now, let's first stop at this. And I'm going to just focus on one sentence. That is the internet blackout was imposed during the election, and Wine, of course, this exact highlight I've put up there. Now, Museveni comes up with a statement that this was the most cheating-free election since 1962. Do you know what that means? That literally means that, of course, you all witnessed what happened. Let me just sample you for those who maybe just joined us a few. Let me do this. Come on, man. Yeah. Just look at this. You don't need to. Just look at that. Now, of course, this is when there were some comrades recorded ballot papers pre-ticked, before they could be smuggled into ballot boxes and all that. You see the person who is ticked, Museveni. So, of course, there are hundreds of videos out there that prove the election was, of course, not free and fair. But Museveni comes up and makes this statement that this was the most cheating-free election since 1962. Of course, that means that the election of 2016 was not free and fair. The election of whatever we call cheating in 2016, that was not cheating. Whatever we call cheating in 2011 election, that was not cheating. Whatever we call cheating in 2006 election, that was not cheating. Whatever we call cheating during 2001 when Museveni faced Colonel Kitakiza Besigye after reforming from reform agenda into a presidential candidate, that was not cheating. You get a point. So, if Museveni claims that this was the most cheating-free election since 1962, then you have to wonder what happened in 2016. You have to wonder and question what happened in 2011. Because for us, we thought maybe this was the most cheated election in the history of Uganda. But the man himself, the election thief, comes out to testify that this was the most cheating-free since 1962. Let me hope you get what I mean. That is Museveni for you. This is what he calls... Let me hope you guys see exactly. So I'm just sampling you some of the videos. I compiled this and I attached a song on it. It's called Yaba Bakal. You guys have watched this several times, I'm sure, for those who have been following this. Naye kyenyamiza, if this was the most cheating-free. Chisesa no kusesa. It's weird, isn't it, guys? It's really weird. Just look at that. We might just continue sharing this message and give this video a thumbs up such that it can spread all over. I can see it has only 15 likes. Make it 60, make it 80, make it 100. All right, let's go on. After calling that the most cheating-free election since 1962, 2 years later, Museveni refused to renew an agreement to allow the United Nations Human Rights Office to operate in Uganda. So, it closed its offices in the country amid what the Associated Press referred to as concern over human rights violations, including extrajudicial killings. Wine credits his current state of being alive to the film. The camera protected us, Wine said. It was our shield. The film wasn't officially released in Uganda, but it was made available for free on YouTube, which can be accessed there. Its protective aura isn't a permanent or impenetrable. Sharp lives in London, but Bwayo, who still lived in Uganda when the film was being made, received death threats before it came out. And he and his wife fled to Los Angeles. They are currently seeking asylum in the United States. Let's go on. Wine's 42nd birthday happened to fall during this week of Oscars. Sorry. Wine's 42nd birthday happened to fall during this week of Oscars mingling. So, after the nominees luncheon, Wine and Barbie took a break from Hollywood and headed to the suburb of Santa Clarita, where their friends Margaret and Kasivante Andrew Kaila hosted a birthday party for him. The Kailas moved to California a few years ago, having left Uganda in 1987. That was the year that the Kasivante's father, a professor of criminal justice and the leader of the Uganda Freedom Movement, a guerrilla organization, was killed. Of course, let me also first stop at this. Bano batabani ba Kaila, of course. Naye, you also need to know that it is Museveni who murdered Kaila. Naye, you know, your story in Pampunyo, and very many people have come out to, fact check it and also give evidence in terms of witnesses, videos, and so much. At one point during the 1980s, the elder Kaila and Museveni had fought side by side against the Ugandan government. But eventually, Museveni consolidated his power and began to view the UFM and other groups as a threat. And it is widely suspected that Kaila's killing was carried out by soldiers loyal to Museveni. It's not actually even suspected, but of course, as an international media platform like the New Yorkers, they would have to report it like the way they reported. But the fact is, it's Museveni Yamuta. Reports at the time suggested that the killing was related to a robbery. The Kaila's bright, lovely kitchen was decorated with a large photograph of a lion, a medium-sized photograph of Big Ben, and a huge silk screen of Wine, who has a slim face with the H. Banasajanga batandise okudescribing omuntu watu yagala kumala nakogera. Soko ulire. Okay, let's get this again. The Kaila's bright, lovely kitchen was decorated with a large photograph of a lion, a medium-sized photograph of Big Ben, and a huge silk screen of Wine, who has a slim face with a chiseled chin and a steady, sleepy-eyed gaze. Kamwanga. You. Huh? In the photograph, he's wearing the red beret of the National Unity Platform, the party he founded. Bobi is our hope, Kasivante Kaila said. He is so courageous. Margaret was busy at the stove frying yuca, which she then served with the a sort of Ugandan Californian hybrid appetizer. Yeah. Then other Ugandan friends began to trickle in. One of them, Mary Flavia Namurindwa, was reading a message on her phone with an anxious look on her face. She had sought asylum in the United States in 2020 when video of her at a Bobi Wine rally found its way to her boss at a government-owned television station, where she was a high-profile entertainment reporter. I had to run for my life, she told me. Now she was holding up her phone and looking stricken. Adam is dead, she announced to the group, and everyone gasped. Namurindwa explained that Adam Mulwana was an activist and a musician who had performed with Wine and supported his campaign last year. Mulwana fell suddenly ill. He alleged that he had been poisoned by a woman posing as a fan. A Ugandan paper, The Monitor, reported that he died after a long illness. Namurindwa co-hosts a show with Isaac Kawalia, another television reporter who left Uganda and is now seeking asylum. on a YouTube channel she started called Diaspora Connect UG, and which is available to the Southerns who have left Uganda to escape the dictatorship. You either join Museveni or you free, Kawalia told me. But of course, stopping at this and throwing more light on this, mwena mukimanyi bulungi nti it is deadly to do journalism in Uganda and you are pro change. It is actually a crime to support Bobi Wine if you are a journalist. If they reveal that your sentiments draw towards His Excellency Kyagulanyi, you are in trouble. That's why sometimes abamu babikako bubisi ne babeera bamanyi amazima. But that is the fact. So some of these muyinza okulowooza nti n'olumu baddukayo buddusi wakanti babiganye babiki. Sometimes they are pressed from all sides, from all corners. You all remember the story of Flavia Namulindwa. New Yorker has hinted on it, and I'm sure now you've been highlighted on what had happened. Mwena mwebuuza lwaki Kawalia Isaac yavaayo, lwaki Namulindwa yavaayo, lwaki Patrick Omuju kadduseeyo, lwaki Selector Williams avuddeyo. When you look at the categories of these people, before they left Uganda, some of them you would think that they support Museveni. Some of them, I mean some of them. But after crossing Ugandan borders, bro, you can feel the venom they spit. You know, mundoza mumbu bamanyi bulungi engeri gye basabulamu. Now tebakyabikkirira, basabulira ddala ku mutwe. And simply because it would be very hard to do the same activism while in Uganda. The reason as to why actually they normally block these journalists from being affiliated to any change-seeking forces, it's because they have that immunity from their stations, and of course their profession gives them that leeway to access different places, to go to places across the entire planet, Uganda, connect with people there, ask them questions. So, babera tebabagala abantu bano babuusa, abasajja babuusa nnyo. Let me tell you one thing. When these journalists go out there in the field, they capture too much. They capture too much, but they only show us just a snippet, which actually doesn't threaten their position in the business they are in. Because at the end of the day, if you go beyond your limit, your license is better threatened. So at the end of the day, you have to report in a way that you will not annoy the autocrat in power. That's why sometimes I never blame some of them, sometimes I blame them. Because at the end of the day, if we all say no, if we all stand together as journalists, as media companies mu Uganda tugamba nti okay, okuva n'olwaleero titugenda kuddamu kola kino, tusobola okubeerako enkyukakyuka y'ekikola kino tuleetawo. Naye simply because sometimes essente zibeera z'amaanyi nnyo, and the love for money actually causes people to act against their principles. We all have principles. Gamba nti nze sisobola kuzuukuka ne ngenda ku mulimu nga sisenyezza. I can't speak to someone after 2 hours nga nakabambulira nga sinnakusenya. I can't do this. Sisobola kuteeka ku t-shirt ne ngenda mu office. We all have those principles, but when money knocks on your door from these guys, it can actually cause you to do things against your principles. You've seen very many of them. The likes of... there are very many actually. If you start listing them down, the list is endless. There are very many who have said it the way it is supposed to be said in 2020, but when you approach them right now, they are completely telling a different story. The likes of Muyanga Lutaya. When you listen to Muyanga Lutaya of 2019 and the Muyanga Lutaya of today, bro, those two, when they meet, they can fight to death. Recently, I watched a video of him narrating to... Of course, it was just a 2-minute clip explaining to the public how he's shocked that there are people who abuse Bobi Wine, and he explained the position of Bobi Wine, that the position of Bobi Wine currently, he's now a man afunye buli kimu akirina, buli kimu akirina, naye ate ne weesanga abantu abamuvuma ate baagala kubeera ku position gyali. I was like, isn't this the guy who was previously criticizing the same guy? So, nene manya nti maybe sente zadde tebannamusasula. So don't be shocked. That guy seems like he's changed. He's not changed. He's just tricking you to give him attention and to share him on your platforms. But after 2-3 days, he's going to go back to his real being, to his true being. He's going to give you his real color. Just like the way you see this guy who Tamale Milundi, the likes of these Gashumbas of this world. Today, they will say ABC, which aligns with your ideologies. And then later on, after 2-3 days, yeah, now they have your attention. Now they have to tell you exactly what they wanted to tell you after they grab your attention. So that is who they are. But of course, some of them do so simply because bapakira omugati mukamwa. Bapakira omugati mukamwa. But ofuna we noddukayo nobeera ng'osobola byogerera mu nsi etali iyo, ensi etali eyo. That's what the likes of Namulindwas, the likes of Kawalia, the likes of Patrico, the likes of Selector Williams. And you guys, I salute you. You do a tremendous job. Selector Williams or Greenland Broadcast. Mugende banange muwulirize Greenland Podcast. Mugende muwulirize Flashlight UG. I always encourage you guys, we support each other in terms of pushing the content that is affiliated to our struggle, because at the end of the day, an NRM affiliated person is not going to share your content. And the reason as to why we do this with these videos is for you guys to get it. Kati wajikola nesigala ku platforms ezo nga te pushing idwa oli asobola okugwamu amaanyi. So I encourage you guys, let's go on supporting each other. Gwe yinajola message yenkyukakyuka ng'ate ng'omuntu omumanyi, just keep pushing, just keep pushing, just keep pushing. Tobuuza muno batomwagala naye nga kale ayina message gy'ataddewo nga etuyamba. Keep pushing, keep pushing. Tobuuza bibuuzo bingi, keep pushing. N'aba kale yakunyizaamu personally naye nga message yalesi yankyukakyuka ng'omumanyi bulungi nti ono Selector Williams ali kukola ki? Ani Selector Williams ono we yali ku TV, we yali ku radio, nagambuka yayogera akatansanyira we namusaba oluyimba teyalukola ki, teyalukuba. Ebyo kati byerabire wabanga ayina message yataddewo enkyukakyuka. Keep pushing, keep pushing. You know, that is the kind of support. And now ojja kuba ogasseeko ettaffaali, because we want this message to always cross the borders of social media deep down to the people. And I always encourage you guys, for those who can, to facilitate those boys and girls who can ban these videos, who can ban this, translate or convert this message into audio, to memory cards, to CDs, and they be pushed deep down the villages. Oli wabanga agenze okulaga firimu mu kibanda naso sound message eyo, you know, ng'akalango ng'abantu bakyajja. Like the Bobi Wine people's president documentary. Yes, you can come out to Ugambe. Kuchalo cha fetuna chibanda cha film. Let me facilitate 1, 2, 3 boys. Bagende banning that video, that movie onto 100 CDs. You just give out for free. That is a contribution. That is a contribution. Eroja kuba okozo mulimo ogw'amaanyi. Anyway, let's not go there too much. Kanzireyo ku article. Oh, where is it? Twakome wano. Let's continue. Let's go on. Let's go on. Let's go on. Kamala okutereza mwano katono. Okay. Let's continue the article. Article eno mpoomu ndozo ogiwulira ena engeri gyewooma, ena engeri yagiwandiise. Omanyi okuwandika nga kintu kiri real, kiri organic, tekiri scripted nti oba biri active, bwa buli kimu kiri nawe okisoma muli owulira ddala nga kireleetinga n'ebyomanyi. Let's continue. Of course, tukyagenda maaso wano ku Banamulinda wano badde banyumya story Bakawalia, you know, those guys. Then we gathered around the buffet table loaded with platters of Ugandan specialties, matoke, smashed green bananas, chicken nut stew, braised beef and rice with beef, and then found places in the living room in front of a huge television which was turned to Wine's YouTube channel. Wow. Everyone sang along to most of his songs. This makes me nostalgic. Wine said, singing. He explained that he has been banned from performing music in Uganda since 2018. I miss the stage, he said. That's my life. Since the ban, he has played concerts in other countries, but in Uganda, he has only been able to record audience-free performances for release online. He pointed to the video that was now playing on the screen. He and his band performing on a boat in the middle of a lake, Victoria. Another video began, which showed Wine chatting with an older birdman. Wine sat up and pointed angrily at the screen. Do you see that old man? He joined the ruling party and would point out young people for them to abduct and torture. Young people, my supporters. He shook his head hard and leaned back in his chair. Yali apointinga kwani oyo. Ani musajja oyo alina gundi. Enviiri alina omutwe ogutaliiko nviiri. Mao ani. Sokuba mao. Kamalo akategedde soko ogire wano. Another video began which showed Wine chatting with an old man. Wine sat up and pointed angrily at the screen. Do you see that old man? He joined the ruling party and would point out young people for them to abduct and torture. Young people, my supporters. He shook his head hard and leaned back in his chair. I asked him if he was ever tempted to leave Uganda. Of course I am, he said, but I can't. My conscience wouldn't allow me. We need people to know our story. He began opening his birthday presents. Some Calvin Klein clog, a new iPhone. Oh, it's nice to be loved, he said appreciatively. He returned to the subject of leaving Uganda. When I think of how many people have been tortured or killed or arrested for my campaign, I know I can't leave. I can't. I'm stuck. He smiled. He isn't sure what awaits him and Barbie when they return to Kampala and their children after the Oscars. We never know, he said. Sometimes the military comes onto the plane. Sometimes the military comes onto the plane I am on when it lands, when it's still on the tarmac, and they pull me off. He is braced for the likelihood that at the very least they will be put back under house arrest. In the meantime, he said, this is a brief vacation. Of course, he has been explaining about what awaits him when he returns to Uganda. Of course, you know, you can feel that His Excellency is not in Uganda, but you can even feel his presence wherever he is. Like I told you, currently I'm trailing our president. That's why whoever writes about him and he has a big following, I'm trailing him. Yeah, I'm trailing him. And I don't want anything simply because, but you can feel his absence in Uganda. Osobola okulaba nti taliimu, osobola okifiiringa. So of course badde bamubuuza nti osobola okuva mu Uganda n'ogenda, tagamba tasobola. Wabitunulatunulamu byonna tasobola. Wajjukiramu abaana abasibiddwa, abaana abatulugunyiziddwa, abaana abattiddwa olwa kampeyini gye yatandika ey'okusiga okulula Museveni. Alabira ddala nga kiba kya bulyazaamaanya era tekiba kya bugunjufu kudduka mu Uganda agenda ate mu nsi endala asinzirire eyo okola activism. You know? So And I believe that is the end of this article. Mbadde saagala gwe naye ate ewedde. Pano bawandiise nalabye ng'empanvu naye ate nnyimpi. Eringa empanvu naye ate nnyimpi. Mbadde saagala gwe. Noonyayo endala. Naye nga you guys, let me hope everything is fine. At least ngiyiseemu bulungi, mutegedde bulungi ki ekibadde kibawandiiseko. That's how engeri gye batuwandiikako side eyo. This is the New Yorker. Era nabaleese balage ki kye batwogerako eyo era ki kye boogera ku mukulembeze waffe. And that is it. This is the New Yorker. Togenda sangamu gaboozibuuzi. Togenda sangamu gaboozibuuzi. No. Naye article mbadde saagala eggwe ewedde mangu. You know, ewedde mangu nnyo. From house arrest to the Oscars. To the Oscar circuit. Now, for those who maybe do not know, let me also shed some light on this. This literally means, of course, before or during the announcement that Bobi Wine was president, he denominated him Oscars. The president, of course, they were under house arrest. Though they were under house arrest, they were supposed to be under house arrest, but they had escaped house arrest. Let me hope it makes sense. Bobi Wine was supposed to be under house arrest, but he had escaped house arrest. Yes, he was put under house arrest simply because he launched a campaign. Of course, under Museveni's reign, that was from way back in 1986 up to today, the roads in Uganda, bro, they are in a very worrying state. Yeah, these are the roads that can kill. Actually, during that week when His Excellency Bobi Wine, together with his team of the United Forces of Change, which includes people like Colonel Dr. Kizza Besigye, Mugisha Muntu, and of course others, that same week, one health worker in the district of Lukunjiri, that is in western Uganda, died after hitting a pothole. So this campaign was to awaken people to show their dissatisfaction with the poor roads infrastructure in the country. Of course, there are very many potholes in the roads, which actually, make it impossible for a number of tasks to be executed, as you know. So lokuberango yagala to leave home and reach at work maybe 30 minutes, but the poor state of roads can't allow you. You're going to find yourself having to spend 1 hour, 2 hours, driving through those bad roads. So what Bobi Wine and his team encouraged the Ugandans to do was, of course, to plant bananas, to plant anything in the potholes. And what the government did was to put those leaders under house arrest. Bobi Wine was put under house arrest with maximum security. The country's army, that is the UPDF, the military, the police, some informants, and all agencies, different security operatives from different security agencies. They deployed heavily at his home in Magere. Not only manpower, soldiers and the like, but also mobile toilets. In that, they don't leave that premise that if for me I want to maybe njagala kweyamba here and there. No. You have a mobile toilet, go and use it. It's there. Then after using it, come back on duty of keeping Bobi Wine under house arrest. On top of that, they also installed cameras at his residence in Magere, making sure that he doesn't leave. On top of that, they sat on top of their police trucks, fully masked themselves. Of course, you couldn't identify who they are. Most of them had put on masks, and it was hard to identify some of them. But guess what? Kyagulanyi managed to escape. Bobi Wine managed to escape. And as they were busy loitering around his gate, making sure that he doesn't leave, news broke out when he was already in town. And of course, the hunt for him started. Police, of course, put that was 10 million to whoever knows the whereabouts of Bobi Wine. Some days you could see him on motorbikes, visiting town to town. Then other days you could see him in taxis, you know. Unfortunately, the last day he appeared in a taxi, being conducted by an old man of about 65 plus, maybe, or 50. As we speak, I don't know the fate of that old man, because the last time I checked in, they had put a serious search on him for helping Bobi Wine, for driving Bobi Wine. It is such weird. So currently, I'm not up to date about the whereabouts of that old man who helped Bobi Wine, who drove him from one place to the other. You know, his crime was just to drive Bobi Wine, who was supposed to be under house arrest. That was his crime. Currently, I'm not so up to date about his whereabouts. I don't know whether he was arrested or is free. That one I can't speculate. But last time I checked in, yali anoonyezebwa era nga anoonyezebwa bubi nnyo. Yeah, so they put him under house arrest to prevent him from participating in those campaigns. But like I told you, he managed to escape, and he fully participated in planting banana plantations in the potholes. That very week, that's when this news of Bobi Wine, the People's President, documentary being nominated in Oscars. Immediately after the announcement, that's when the government withdrew security from the home of Bobi Wine. And that's how he managed to leave Uganda to be part of whatever he is part of right now. Ensonga lwaki asobola okubeera eno era nga ensonga lwaki bino byonna bisobola okukolebwa naye nga those guys had actually planned not to leave his house until ng'amenyewo ebigambo byakola ki ng'amenyewo ebigambo byayogera. Alright guys, Moses Aliga, let me first say Nabukenya tetukuulira. Oh, sorry, maybe my voice was low. Harriet, where did Ugandan Kyagulanyi? You know, Ugandan Kyagulanyi is coming back anytime soon. Yeah, send my greetings to my brother Ugandan Kyagulanyi. All right. Putin, yes. Bobi Wine, with Russia, yes. Putin murdered the operational leader of Russia. That's very true. Moses Alega, thanks for such impressive message, Mr. JB. You are most welcome. Muchibi Tendo, respect blood, JB. Sarah Chiwanuka, we should always be positive. God is on our side. Of course, I always encourage you guys, never lose hope. The story of these dictators has always been a one direction kind of story. It is the rise and fall. It has never been the rise and rise and rise and rise and rise. It is going to come to an end. We had the likes of Joseph Stalin, the Mussolinis of this world, the Idi Amins of this world, the Hitlers of this world, the Saddam Husseins, the Bashirs of Sudan. We had very many. But where are they currently? So that should give you hope. Where are they currently? Just narrate to me or tell me a dictator whose story has been the rise and rise and rise and rise. That's why I always feel sad seeing such kind of people. Benabadde nnyonnyola mu kusooka abantu abo abakulu nga they see Museveni as the only solution that we have. Uganda has a population of over 47 million. And you want to tell him that it's only one man, Museveni, who is the past 90 years plus. Asobola okutegeerera eggwanga gwoba weetaddewa. Nze kale sijja kulimba nange kennyini neteeka mu kifaananyi nti nsobola okukulembera. Omanyi lwaki? being a president does not mean that you are going to execute all tasks. No. That is actually the notion gye batambuza era narrative gye bafeedinga mu bantu. Okubeera president tekitegeeza nti gwe kamala byonna. Nedda. Oyina ba advisors, oyina ba ministers. Sigwa agenda okubeera minister wa agriculture, sigwa agenda okubeera minister wa information, sigwa agenda okubeera minister wa education. Oyina kubeera nga obeera ne team ekola. Team eyina Uganda at heart. Team eyina ensi. Team etanoonya just sente. Team kati nobeera n'abasajja nga Badani Mulika for example. I'm just giving an example. Kadani Mulika takyanoonya sente. Yayagala bwagazi kutereeza. Nobeera n'abasajja nga omugenzi Hussein Kyanjo. Oye baamuttirawo. Tebaamusse Jjo. No. Jjo yafudde bufi. Like he just died. Like we die and no one will ever see you again. But he was killed way back. The time he was poisoned in South Africa, that's the time they killed him. You know, so kyennyamiza okulaba abantu abakulu nga batunuulira omusajja ng'ono nga era n'ekitundu ne kimalamu n'amaanyi ne ngamba abasajja kale nga abaana bakulu bandibadde bategerera abaana abato naye nga beefudde abawumba tutu mwana. Alright guys, let me wind up. 1 hour yiye ekonye. And like I told you, I always don't want to make it more than 1 hour. At least not to 2 hours. Yeah. Naswa France, Corby, Shabanet TV, Lynn, Proud Ugandan, Connie Naroga, Segawa, Peter, Akamadi Sekaja, Bisem, Uganda. Let me actually kantumire ku baganda bange betukola pushing a message eno fenna ba Masaba Media ba Ivan Bruce ba mwenna gwe bubanga omanyi nti oli wankyukakyuka ng'okwata essimu n'ogyetega bulungi oba computer n'ogyetega oba kamera n'obaako ebigambo by'ogeranga, you know, the likes of Yekolera. There are very many ku TikTok. Tulinayo ba Uptop Boys, ba Kiseka Omalu, ba Louis Light, abaana abo. Actually, inspiration beera njagala nnyo, like some comrade here posted and said that we should always be positive. Yeah, okubeera positive kikuyamba, sekikuyamba gwe kaweka wabula kiyamba n'abantu abalala nti oyinza okuinspiringa omuntu omulala okwegattako ng'ate asobola okubaako kyakola gwe kyotasobola kukola. So we should always okubeera positive, to losing a hope. N'ekirala okusupportinga oyo omuntu aba avuddeyo ng'akyali muto mu nsonga z'okubeera ng'aweereza. Abantu abamu balina talent mu kwetega essimu n'abeerako ebigambo byayogera ate abantu ne bamuwuliriza. Naye ate wajja ne tutandika omukuba amagye amavundu. Let's not do that. Let's always support each other and always do not undermine your efforts. Whatever you do, gwe manya nti no kiina engeri gye kigattako in one way or the other. So n'oba tweetinga butweetinzi, n'oba sharinga busharinzi, n'oba okubidde maama oba taata oba muganda w'essimu n'omugamba yeebereremu, ekyo nakyo oba okoze omulimu gw'amaanyi kuba tomanya iyo message naye asobola ogyongerayo kuki ku banne. And always don't expect people understand what is going on. Never have that thought in mind that people know what's going on. People don't know what is going on. You know, if they knew, twandibadde situli wano. So the reason as to why we always come out and push this message yonayina gyebadde because tukimanyi bulungi abantu tamanyi kikigenda mu maaso. People don't know. And that's why Museveni atufugidde ebbanga lyonna. And that's why he's trying so much to silence any dissenting voice. Because tayagala abantu babuuke tebamanyi kigenda mu maaso. So don't expect that people know what's going on. Because when you expect nti abantu bamanyi kigenda mu maaso ogenda kulirakisinga, you're going to relent and togenda kufuna maanyi ago gakola ki ojja kulowooza nti amanyi abantu tebamanyi kigenda mu maaso tebamanyi yadde kigenda mu maaso tugende mu maaso nga tupushinga message eno we banaategeera ekigenda mu maaso Museveni nga wonaategeera nti no kati bamanyi ekigenda mu maaso olwo nga bonna beekyanze nga bayogera ekigambo ekyo kimu Museveni must go. Museveni must go. Lastly, let's not always lock our struggle to taking out Museveni. Let us, of course, we know that ours is not about Museveni, is about redirecting our country back to the right rails. And of course, we have a team esobola okukwasaganya ensonga eyo bulungi. Naye, let us also fight the Musevenism mindset. Museveni asobola okuvaawo naye ate Musevenism n'asigalawo. Musevenism is the mindset. So, eyo mindset naye tulina ogirwanyisa. Eyo mindset eya Musevenism. The reason as to why there is that in people's mind, it's because Museveni has stayed for so long. I bet you some of you, if not all of you, we mwalabanga ennyonyi ng'eyita mu bbanga wagambanga buy Museveni because you thought every plane belonged to Museveni and every plane mwalimu Museveni because mubijjukira bisitole ebyo. So wobanga okyajjukira kasitoola ako and the guy is still clinging on to power up to today, abantu abamu tojja kunnimba ati no tebalina that in their mind. Kyolanga abamu basobola okuvaayo ne bacriticinga ne bagamba Kyagulanyi yattisa abaana naye ate ne batakyokera oli akutte emmundu okukola ki okutta. So that we also need to fight it. We need to fight it because our success ejja kubeera nga tuwipings out the mindset and the man himself. If the man goes and the mindset stays, we've done nothing. Yeah, because that mindset can again esobola okuresurfacingira mu muntu omulala. You get so mindset yeyo wamu ne nannyiniyo bonna tubakole ki. So in order to wipe out the mindset, of course, is also to tiimu yonna beeyina kuvaawo. Kiki ntegeeza? Tolowooza nti nno Museveni waavaako n'oteekawo omukulembeze omulala ng'akolera mu system ya Museveni mbwe ebintu bisobola okukyuka. Nothing can change. Nothing can change because ogenda kuba oyozezza n'oyanika mu ttaka. Ogenda kuba oyozezza n'oyanika mu ttaka. So the mindset and the initiator, the architecture of the mindset, both have to go. Both have to go. And that would be my last, unless there is someone ayina kyayagala okubeera nga ayogera. Kilonda Michael, anyone oba ayina kyayagala okuyisaawo. I thank whoever has come out to support me. I made a call. Jagalayo just ebitaala bibiri ne audio interface. Jagala nga artisti nsobola okubeera nga nkola kibayita gundi eno studio nsobola gifulanga call center nga musobola okukuba amasimu ne gayitamu bulungi. I need that audio interface bulungi esobola okutransmittinga audio bulungi. Ebitaala byange nali nkozesa byafa. Waliwo abantu kidde ne bangamba siboogera amannya sofa bali babiri. Yes, omu ya contributinzeeko ku kitaala ekimu, omulala yangulidde ekitaala ekiraso ekyokubiri tekinnaba kuggwayo ne audio interface ekyakola ki tennaba kukwatibwako. So yina muzira kisasobola okuntukira mu kabox nanga JB, I'm going to help you on that. Kijja kuba kinyamba nnyo. Yeah, kijja kuba kinyamba. Ojja kuba okoze ki onyambyeko hiyande anja kuba musanyufu nnyo. Thank you. Waliwo bananga ina kyayagala okuyisaawo kasina bakusiibula. I'm going to upload for you another podcast. This podcast president yabadde nayo nagiteeka ku JBMuwonge radio abaliko during its live streaming mwajiwulira bulungi. This one I'm going to be uploading it to our podcast series, that is JBMuwonge podcast, which is the Uganda's Journey to Freedom. Podcast here, you can find it on our YouTube channel, of course, the JBMuwonge podcast YouTube channel. Then you can also find it on our website, that's www.jbmuwonge.com. You can as well find it on your respective gadgets if you use Google phones obanga okozesa Apple, solo kugenda mu Apple podcast. Yes, abakozesa simu za iPhone osobola okugenda bugenzi ku icon yeyo eriko ekigambo podcasts. Omala oginyigamu n'ogenda ku search ng'oteeka mu test kigambo JBMuwonge podcast. Ejja kujja olabe recent episodes. Abakozesa abavuga engendo empanvu ng'oyagala okubeera ng'owuliriza ku zi podcasts ngeno ovuga osobola okudownloadinga Google Podcasts. Kati Google Podcasts wogidownloadinga osearchinga busearching kigambo JBMuwonge podcast era ojja kuba oziraba. Connectinga ku Bluetooth no connectinga ku radio ku speakers ez'emmotoka esimu n'ogiwumuza wali wamagwe n'owuliriza message. Abayagala omuzigo wa president nabagamba gubeerayo ku JBMuwonge radio. Naye for the case of JBMuwonge radio, if you access it via WhatsApp, you are going to be listening in through WhatsApp. Kati wakitegeza kuba tosobola kukola kiso abagifunira link, for example on Facebook, on Twitter, it is hard. Gogenda bugenzi ku Google oba genda bugenzi ku website otekemu JBMuwonge radio. You can minimize it after clicking the play button. Let me show you. This is what I'm talking about. Where is this? Let me just practically show it to you guys. This is what I'm talking about. Let's do this. Come on. Let's do this. Otekamu JBMuwonge radio. No genda no clicking at the first one. Egenda kugulawo. Kati wegulawo onyiga kapule kano. Kati wonyiga kapule kano ngabo okalaba. Obanga oli ku simu yo kuliko na muziki gwa president. Bwomala okunyiga play osobola okuminimizinga. Omala okuminimizinga n'ogenda kupitala n'okola, osobola ogenda ku Facebook, osobola ogenda ku any other platform nga radio yeri mu background. That would be the best way to access it. Then osobola n'okusoma ku mawulire agaliyo here and there. Yeah, nobeera ng'oli up to date in one or the other. Yeah, kabusati kafeke kano nange nyinayo mission ne objective lwaki nkola ebintu bino. Yeah, youth empowerment, of course raising awareness, of course media engagement, of course international advocacy, of course capacity building. Osobola ogenda nange nyina ensonga lwaki nkola ebintu bino. Osobola ogenda n'osomako bulungi. Then osobola okudownloadinga manifesto yaffe ya NUP ne full biography ya president waffe. Yeah, there it is. Then amawulire osobola ogasanga wano wansi bulungi. So eyo mbadde nkugamba radio. Naye gundi eno podcast, eyo podcast kyembadde mbagamba eno luli nagiteeka ku JBMuwonge radio. Naye kati ngenda giteeka ku channel ezo, ngenda giteeka ku podcast service providers ezo. Currently ndi mu gikolako. I'm working on it. I already downloaded from the servers of New York, kuba bagikoledde New York. Ngenda kubeera nga ngikolako then ngiteekeyo mugiwulirize bulungi. Nayo nnungi nnyo. Mukyalo ono yabuuza ebibuuzo biri very bibuuzo birungi nnyo, yabuuza bulungi nnyo. Baaliyo ne Moses Bwaya. Yeah, ngenda kuba ngibaterayo anytime soon, both on Facebook and as well as on those platforms zona zenjogedde. Era nga mbasibasibula bannange. Era nga mbasibasibula. Era nga mbasibasibula. Flores authentic. Damn, I'm so late tonight. Yes, atakalo kadde kawomu. Ka article nange mbadde sagala kagwa ka New York. No jakalaba Flores. Alright guys, ndoza tujja kuba tuddamu. Bye bye, have the best of the time wherever you are. Mwenna gye muli mubeere bulungi. Kimanyi waliwo abazuukuse kati nga bakazuuka bagenda ku mulimo, waliwo abagenda okwebaka, waliwo ate abali ku mulimo, ate waliwo abannyuka. So wherever you are, I wish you the best. Bye bye.
Lowest paid soldier or police officer will be earning 1 million shillings.
Suiza.